The first time I saw the message, I told myself I was imagining things. That's the strange thing about betrayal. Your heart notices it long before your brain accepts it. It was a Thursday night. Rain tapped softly against the apartment windows while I folded laundry on the couch. Ethan was in the shower, humming like he always did after the gym. Our living room smelled like coffee and fresh detergent. Everything looked normal, too normal. His phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. I didn't mean to look. I swear I didn't. But the screen lit up with a message that changed everything. Miss you already. Tonight was worth the risk. My stomach dropped so fast it felt like the floor disappeared beneath me. I froze. For a second, I actually laughed under my breath because my brain refused to process what I had just seen. No, Ethan wouldn't do that. Not Ethan. Not the man who spent 3 years promising me forever. The man who kissed my forehead every morning before work. The man who looked my father in the eye and said he would always protect me. My hands started shaking. I picked up the phone. The contact name wasn't saved. Just a number. But above the message thread was a photo. A blonde woman smiling into the camera. And then I saw the older messages. Dozens of them. Pictures. Plans. Hotel confirmations. My chest tightened so hard I couldn't breathe. The bathroom door opened. Steam rolled into the hallway as Ethan stepped out, towel around his waist. He smiled at me instantly. "Hey babe," he said casually. "What are you doing?" I held up the phone. And in that exact moment, I watched the color drain from his face. That was the moment I knew. Not suspected. Knew. He didn't even ask what I saw. Because guilty people always know. The silence between us became unbearable. Finally he forced a laugh. "It's not what you think." I remember staring at him like he was a stranger wearing Ethan's face. Because how many times had I heard women say those exact words online? How many times had I watched stories about cheating and thought I'd leave immediately? But reality doesn't feel dramatic when it happens to you. Reality feels confusing, ugly, heavy. I whispered, "Who is she?" Ethan rubbed his face aggressively. "It's complicated." That answer shattered something inside me worse than the cheating itself. Complicated. 3 years together. 2 years living together. Meeting families. Planning a wedding. And suddenly I was complicated. I felt tears building in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not in front of him. Not while he stood there looking guilty. "I asked you one question." He sighed. Actually sighed. Like I was exhausting him. "Her name's Vanessa." The room spun. "She doesn't mean anything. It just happened. It was a mistake. It didn't start serious." Every sentence sounded rehearsed. Like he had prepared for this day. And maybe he had. Maybe cheaters always know the truth eventually catches up. I stared at him and quietly asked the question I didn't want answered. "How long?" He hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. "How long, Ethan?" 8 months. 8 months. 8 months while kissing me goodbye every morning. 8 months while planning vacations with me. 8 months while telling me he loved me before bed. I actually felt physically sick. I ran to the bathroom and threw up. Behind me, I heard him say my name softly. Like he cared. Like he wasn't the reason I was falling apart. I stayed on the cold bathroom floor for nearly 20 minutes while he stood outside the door asking me to talk. But there was nothing left to say. Eventually I walked back into the living room. He looked nervous now. Scared. Good. I grabbed my car keys. "Where are you going?" "Away from you. Claire, please, don't touch me." That sentence came out sharper than I expected. His face fell instantly. But for the first time that night, I didn't care. I walked out into the rain without a jacket. Without a plan. Without understanding that my entire life was about to change. And the worst part, I still loved him. Even after everything. That was the part that embarrassed me most. Because betrayal doesn't erase love overnight. Sometimes it sits beside it. And that combination destroys people. I drove around the city for hours crying so hard I could barely see the road. Every memory replayed in my head like torture. Our first date. Our first apartment. The night he told me he wanted children someday. Were any of those moments real? Or was I just the safe option while he chased excitement somewhere else? At 2 in the morning, I parked outside my best friend Mia's apartment. She opened the door half asleep. One look at my face and she immediately pulled me inside. What happened? And that's when I finally broke. Not the quiet tears I held back around Ethan. Real crying. The kind that makes breathing difficult. The kind that comes from humiliation more than sadness. He cheated on me. Mia froze. What? I nodded weakly. For 8 months. Her expression changed instantly from concern to rage. That disgusting piece of trash. I shook my head. I don't understand how he could do this to me. Mia wrapped a blanket around my shoulders and sat beside me on the couch. And then she asked the question that would change everything. Do you want revenge? I looked at her through tears. At first, I almost said no. Because revenge sounded dramatic, petty, immature. But then I remembered Ethan's face. Not guilty. Annoyed. Like getting caught was an inconvenience. And suddenly something cold settled inside me. Not rage. Something calmer. More dangerous. I whispered, maybe. Mia leaned back slowly. Then don't rush. Men like him always think they'll control the ending. I stared into the darkness silently. And for the first time that night, I smiled. Just a little. Because Ethan thought the worst moment of his life was getting caught. He had no idea what was coming next. The next morning, I woke up feeling hollow. Not sad. Not angry. Just empty. Like someone had reached inside my chest during the night and removed every emotion one by one. Mia handed me coffee while I sat at her kitchen counter staring into space. You should eat something. I'm not hungry. You need strength if you're going to survive this. Survive. That word hit me harder than expected. Because betrayal really does feel like survival. Like your entire reality collapses overnight and suddenly you're trying to figure out which pieces were real. My phone buzzed again. Ethan. 17 missed calls. 42 messages. I didn't open a single one. Mia glanced at the screen. Block him. I shook my head slowly. Not yet. Because deep down, I needed answers first. And maybe I wanted him nervous. The messages kept coming. Please talk to me. I made a mistake. I love you. Don't throw us away. That last one almost made me laugh. Throw us away. As if he wasn't the one who destroyed everything. By noon, anger finally started replacing the numbness. And anger felt better. Cleaner. I opened Instagram. I searched the number from Ethan's phone. It took less than 30 seconds to find her. Vanessa Harper. 27 years old. Fitness influencer. Perfect hair. Perfect body. Perfect fake smile. Her page was full of luxury restaurants, rooftop bars, designer bags, and selfies with captions about protecting your peace. The irony nearly made me choke. But then I noticed something strange. A photo posted 2 weeks earlier. A beach picture. And standing behind her in sunglasses was Ethan. The same weekend he told me he was visiting his brother. I zoomed in until my hands shook. Mia looked over my shoulder. Oh my God. I kept scrolling. More clues. A reflection in a restaurant mirror. His watch on a dinner table. A hand holding hers. She never showed his face directly. But she showed enough. My chest burned. 8 months. 8 months of lies. Then I noticed her livestream announcement. Going live tonight. Got some exciting life updates. Mia saw my expression change. What? I looked up slowly. She's going live tonight. So, I don't know why the idea entered my head. Maybe pain makes people reckless. Maybe betrayal unlocks something dangerous inside quiet people. But suddenly I heard myself say, I want to watch. That evening, we sat together on Mia's couch waiting for Vanessa's livestream to start. Over 30,000 followers joined within minutes. She appeared smiling brightly at the camera. Hey guys. The comments exploded instantly. You're glowing. Queen energy. Tell us the news. I felt sick watching her laugh. Watching her pretend to be innocent. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. So, I've been seeing someone. The comments went insane. Mia grabbed my arm tightly. Vanessa smiled wider. And honestly, I've never been happier. I could barely breathe. Then she added, when you know, you know. The comments section flooded with excitement. She laughed dramatically. Soon. Very soon. And then a male voice spoke from off camera. Are you done yet? My heart stopped. Ethan. There was no mistaking it. The comments exploded again. Vanessa laughed nervously. He's shy. Shy. The same man who looked me in the eyes every day while betraying me. Mia whispered, this is insane. But I wasn't even listening anymore. Because suddenly I noticed something else. On Vanessa's left hand was a ring. Not just any ring. My grandmother's ring. The ring Ethan promised he was getting resized. The ring meant for me. I couldn't breathe. Mia looked horrified. No. But yes. It was mine. Something inside me snapped quietly in that moment. Not loudly. Like ice cracking beneath someone's feet. Vanessa kept talking happily while I stared at the screen in silence. And then she said the sentence that changed everything. He says I saved him from the wrong relationship. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because I genuinely couldn't process how cruel people could be. The live stream continued another 20 minutes. Every second felt like poison. But I watched all of it. Every lie. Every smile. Every fake moment. Because pain has a strange way of sharpening memory. And I wanted to remember exactly how this felt. When the live stream ended, Mia turned toward me carefully. You okay? I looked at the dark phone screen for a long moment. Then I said something that surprised even me. No. After another pause, I whispered, but I will be. Mia studied my face carefully. What are you thinking? I leaned back slowly, and for the first time since discovering the affair, I wasn't crying. I was thinking, planning. Because suddenly this wasn't just about cheating anymore. It was humiliation. Public humiliation. They weren't hiding. They were celebrating, laughing, wearing my ring online, turning me into a joke without even knowing I was watching. And the worst part, Ethan still thought he could fix things. My phone buzzed again. Another message from him. Please come home so we can talk. Home. Funny word. I typed back for the first time. Okay. 3 letters. That was all. But Mia's eyes widened instantly. What are you doing? I stood up slowly. I'm going home. To him? No. I picked up my bag calmly. To end this properly. The drive back to the apartment felt unreal. The streets looked normal. People laughed outside restaurants. Cars stopped at traffic lights. And somehow the world kept moving while mine had completely collapsed. When I finally walked through the apartment door, Ethan was sitting on the couch waiting for me. The moment he saw me, he stood up instantly. Claire. His voice cracked slightly. Good. I stepped inside quietly and closed the door behind me. The apartment suddenly felt unfamiliar. Like I was visiting someone else's life. Ethan moved toward me carefully. I'm so sorry. I looked at him blankly. You already said that. I mean it. I laughed softly. You mean you got caught? His face tightened. That's not fair. Not fair. The audacity almost impressed me. I set my purse down calmly. Then I asked the question burning inside me. Did you give her my grandmother's ring? Silence. That silence answered everything. I stared at him in disbelief. You actually did. He rubbed his face nervously. I was going to explain. No, explain how you looked at something passed down through my family for generations and handed it to your mistress like it meant nothing. She's not my mistress. That sentence hit harder than expected. Like he had already rewritten the story in his mind. I stared at him slowly. So what is she? His jaw tightened. We got close. You were sleeping with her for 8 months. It wasn't supposed to happen. Cheating usually isn't scheduled on a calendar, Ethan. He looked frustrated now. Not guilty. Frustrated. And suddenly I realized something terrifying. He wasn't sorry for hurting me. He was sorry things became inconvenient. That realization changed everything. Because once love loses respect, it dies fast. I walked toward the bedroom silently. Where are you going? To pack. Claire, please don't do this. I turned around slowly. Do what? Leave the man who betrayed me publicly while his girlfriend wore my ring online. She's not my girlfriend, but she thinks she is. He said nothing. Exactly. I opened the closet and grabbed a suitcase. Ethan followed me nervously. I was confused. I almost laughed again. Confused. Men always became philosophers after getting caught. Suddenly relationships were complex. Feelings were complicated. Needs were hard to explain. But cheating itself always seemed very simple to them. I folded clothes into the suitcase quietly while Ethan kept talking. I never stopped loving you. That sentence finally made me angry. Real anger. The kind that burns behind your ribs. Don't. What? Don't use love to excuse betrayal. He went silent. Good. Because I was finally done protecting his feelings. For years I had defended him. Supported him. Believed in him. Meanwhile he was building another relationship behind my back. I zipped the suitcase hard. Then I looked him directly in the eyes. Does she know about me? His hesitation answered immediately. Oh my God. She knew we were having problems. I stared at him in disbelief. So she knowingly dated a man living with someone else. It wasn't like that. How exactly was it then? She understood me. That sentence cut deep. Not because I believed it. Because I remembered all the nights I stayed awake helping him through work stress. All the moments I supported his dreams. All the sacrifices I made for us. And somehow the reward for loyalty was humiliation. I grabbed the suitcase handle. Then Ethan suddenly stepped closer. Please don't leave tonight. His voice sounded desperate now. Why? Because if you walk out that door. He stopped. Then it's really over. I stared at him for several seconds. And finally I whispered the truth he refused to accept. It was over the moment you chose her. I walked out without another word. And this time, I didn't cry. Because something colder had replaced heartbreak. Clarity. Over the next week, Ethan became obsessed. Flowers arrived daily. Long apology texts flooded my phone. Voice messages. Emails. Even handwritten letters. At first, Mia thought it was romantic. Until I showed her the messages more carefully. That's when we noticed something strange. None of them actually took responsibility. Every apology somehow blamed stress, confusion, pressure, anything except himself. And once I noticed that, I couldn't unsee it. One night, Mia and I sat eating takeout while I ignored another incoming call from Ethan. He's panicking, she said. He should be. You think he actually loves Vanessa? I thought about that carefully. Then shook my head. No. Then why risk everything? I leaned back slowly. Because some people don't cheat because they found someone better. They cheat because attention makes them feel powerful. 2 days later, something unexpected happened. I received a message from an unknown number. We need to talk about Ethan. My stomach tightened instantly. Who is this? The typing bubble appeared immediately. Vanessa. Against Mia's advice, I agreed to meet her. The cafe was crowded when I arrived. And Vanessa was somehow even more beautiful in person. Perfect makeup, designer clothes, confident posture. The kind of woman social media worships instantly. She looked nervous when she saw me. Good. I sat across from her silently. For several awkward seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she finally said, "You probably hate me." I stared at her calmly. "You wore my ring online." Her face immediately fell. "He told me you broke up months ago." I blinked slowly. "What? He said you were his ex." The world seemed to pause. Vanessa opened her phone quickly. "I didn't know he still lived with you until after the live stream." She showed me screenshots. Messages from Ethan. Lies. Dozens of lies. He told her we separated 6 months earlier. Told her I was emotionally manipulative. Told her we only stayed in contact because of financial reasons. My stomach twisted. Not because I believed him. Because he turned me into the villain to protect himself. Vanessa looked genuinely shaken. When I found out the truth, I ended things. I stared at her carefully. "You expect me to believe that? You don't have to. But I didn't know about you." Part of me wanted to scream at her anyway. Another part realized something worse. We had both been manipulated. Different lies. Same man. Vanessa looked down quietly. "He told me he was going to propose to me." My chest tightened instantly. The ring. Of course. I suddenly realized Ethan wasn't just cheating. He was living 2 completely different lives. Promising futures to 2 women at the same time. And somehow believing he could control both realities forever. Vanessa slowly removed the ring from her purse. "I came to give this back." For a second, I couldn't move. My grandmother's ring sat between us on the table. I picked it up carefully. And unexpectedly, tears filled my eyes. Not because of Ethan. Because my grandmother gave this ring to me before she passed away. She used to tell me, "The right love will make you feel safe, not confused." I finally understood what she meant. Vanessa looked miserable now. "I'm sorry." And strangely, for the first time, I believed her. Then she said something that changed everything again. "There's something else you should know." I looked up. "He's been using your money." My entire body went still. "What?" "He told me you were helping him start a business." Cold fear spread through me. Because suddenly memories started connecting. The missing savings. The delayed wedding plans. The excuses. I whispered slowly, "Oh my God." There was no business. Which meant only one thing. Ethan hadn't just betrayed my heart. He betrayed my future. That night, I barely slept. Not because I missed Ethan. Because my brain kept replaying everything Vanessa told me. The money. The lies. The fake business. At 4 in the morning, I sat at Mia's kitchen table going through bank statements. And little by little, the truth became horrifyingly clear. Every sacrifice I made funded another woman's relationship. I stopped feeling sad. And started feeling furious. By sunrise, I made a decision. I wasn't going to scream online. I wasn't going to throw things. I wasn't going to beg for answers. No, I was going to destroy the image Ethan cared about most. His reputation. Because men like Ethan survive by controlling perception. And Ethan cared deeply about appearances. His new job depended on networking. Professional trust. If people discovered who he really was, everything would collapse. A week later, Ethan's company announced a huge networking gala downtown. Employees could bring guests, investors, executives, important people. Perfect. Because I had already decided that would be the night everything ended. The ballroom looked beautiful. Golden lights, live music, champagne glasses everywhere. And standing near the center of the room was Ethan. Smiling, networking, acting normal. For a moment, I almost lost my nerve. Because seeing him look comfortable after everything hurt more than expected. But then I remembered crying on Mia's bathroom floor. I remembered my grandmother's ring. The missing money. The live stream. And suddenly my fear disappeared. Ethan noticed me seconds later. His smile vanished instantly. He walked toward me quickly. "What are you doing here?" I smiled politely. "You invited me months ago, remember?" His eyes darted nervously around the room. "Claire, not tonight." Interesting. So he already sensed danger. I tilted my head slightly. "Why? Afraid of honesty? Please don't do this." That sentence confirmed everything. He knew. He knew the mask was slipping. Before he could say another word, the projector changed. The company logo disappeared, and Ethan's messages filled the giant screen. The entire ballroom went silent. Another screenshot appeared. And another. Hotel reservations. Messages to Vanessa. Lies about me. Promises to 2 women at once. Gasps spread across the room. Then audio played. His voice. Clear. Cold. "If Claire finds out, she'll lose her mind." The silence afterward felt massive. Executives stared. Coworkers whispered. Someone near the back muttered, "Oh my God." Ethan looked completely frozen. Like his brain stopped functioning. The carefully crafted image he spent years building shattered in less than 60 seconds. And honestly, watching it happen felt strangely calm. Not satisfying. Not joyful. Just necessary. Security intercepted him while people stared in disgust. And suddenly the charming professional everyone admired no longer existed. Only the truth remained. Outside the hotel, cold night air hit my face hard. Mia ran after me moments later. "You okay?" I stared up at the city lights quietly. Then unexpectedly, I started crying. Not because I regretted it. Because the relationship was truly dead now. No fixing it. No pretending. No hope left. And strangely, that pain also felt like freedom. The internet exploded by morning. Someone from the gala leaked the projector videos online. Within hours, clips spread everywhere. Former coworkers commented anonymously. Old classmates shared stories. And suddenly a pattern appeared. Manipulation. Lying. Using people. Apparently I wasn't the first woman Ethan betrayed. Just the first one who exposed him publicly. 3 days later, I returned home and found Ethan sitting outside Mia's apartment building. The moment I saw him, my stomach tightened. He stood slowly. And honestly, he looked broken. "You ruined my life," he said quietly. I stared at him calmly. "No, I exposed it." That silence afterward stretched painfully long. Finally he asked, "Was humiliating me worth it?" I thought carefully before answering. "You humiliated me first. That was private." I laughed softly in disbelief. "Private?" "Vanessa wore my ring online in front of thousands of people." He looked away immediately. Guilt. Finally. Real guilt. But again, too late. I lost my job. His voice cracked slightly. "My family won't speak to me." I listened silently, then asked the question he deserved to hear. "And how exactly do you think I felt?" He said nothing. Because there was no answer. No excuse. No explanation strong enough. After a long pause, Ethan quietly whispered, "I did love you." That sentence hit harder than expected. Not because I believed it fully. Because part of me knew it was true. In his own damaged way, he probably did love me. But love without respect becomes selfish. Possessive. Cruel. And I finally understood that. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. "I never thought you'd destroy everything." I looked at him for a long moment. Then finally spoke the truth that had been sitting inside me for weeks. "You destroyed everything the moment you stopped valuing the person who loved you honestly." His face completely fell. And suddenly I realized something important. This wasn't revenge anymore. This was consequence. Very different things. I stepped toward the apartment entrance. But Ethan stopped me with one final question. Did you ever really love me? I turned slowly, and despite everything, I answered honestly. Yes. That single word seemed to hurt him more than anything else. Because deep down, he knew exactly what he threw away. The months after everything ended felt strangely quiet. No more lies. No more anxiety. No more checking phones or questioning behavior. Just silence. At first, the silence felt lonely. Then eventually, peaceful. I moved into my own apartment downtown. Small place. Nothing fancy. But every corner belonged to me. And after betrayal, ownership of your own peace becomes priceless. Therapy helped too. Not because I was weak. Because betrayal changes the way you see yourself. For months, I questioned everything. Was I not enough? Too trusting? Too boring? But slowly I learned an important truth. Someone else's dishonesty is not proof of your lack of value. Cheaters don't betray people because those people are worthless. They betray people because integrity requires maturity. And not everyone has it. One rainy afternoon, I received a package. Inside was my grandmother's ring. Polished perfectly, along with a handwritten note. You deserved better than me. I know that now. No signature. No apology speech. Just that sentence. I stared at the note for a very long time. Then quietly placed it in a drawer and closed it. Because some chapters don't need reopening. One evening, Mia and I sat on my apartment balcony watching city lights flicker below us. You ever miss him? She asked, carefully. I thought about it honestly. Then nodded. Sometimes. She looked surprised. After everything, I smiled faintly. I miss who I thought he was. Because healing isn't pretending the relationship never mattered. It's accepting the reality without letting it destroy your future. Almost a year later, I attended a charity event downtown with coworkers. Life looked completely different now. Healthier, calmer, real. I laughed more, slept better, trusted myself again, and most importantly, I no longer needed revenge to feel powerful. Because peace became enough. Halfway through the evening, someone tapped my shoulder gently. When I turned around, my breath caught. Ethan's mother, Linda. She looked older somehow, sad, but kind. Claire, she whispered softly. For a moment, neither of us knew what to say. Then unexpectedly, she hugged me tightly. I'm sorry for everything. Emotion hit me harder than expected. Because his family had once felt like my family too. Linda stepped back slowly. He talks about you constantly. I looked down quietly. He made terrible choices. She nodded sadly. Yes. But losing you changed him. I didn't answer. Because honestly, I didn't know if people truly changed that deeply. Maybe they do. Maybe pain teaches lessons comfort never can. Linda smiled gently. You were the best thing that ever happened to him. That sentence stayed with me long after she walked away. Not because I wanted Ethan back. I didn't. But because for the first time, I realized something important. I had spent so long feeling rejected that I forgot something obvious. I was valuable before him, during him, and after him. Betrayal didn't reduce my worth. It revealed his character. And there's a huge difference. Later that night, while driving home through glowing city streets, I stopped at a red light and caught my reflection in the mirror. For the first time in a long time, I looked happy. Not fake happy for social media. Real happy. The kind built slowly after heartbreak. The kind people earn. My phone buzzed at the light. A message from Mia. Still proud of you. I smiled softly. Then typed back, me too. And honestly, that shocked me most of all. Because after everything Ethan did, after all the betrayal, the lies, the humiliation, I didn't become bitter. I became stronger. And maybe that's the real revenge people never expect. Not destruction, not chaos, not hatred, healing. Because nothing confuses the people who hurt you more than seeing you happy without them. And if there's one thing I learned through all of this, it's this. The right love will never force you to investigate, compete, or beg for honesty. Real love brings peace, not confusion, security, not anxiety, and loyalty should never feel like a weakness. So if someone betrays you, let them. Because eventually people expose themselves. And when they do, walk away with your dignity intact. That's how you truly win. Not by becoming cruel, but by refusing to let someone else's dishonesty destroy your future. And trust me, that ending shocks people every single time.